I guess
Hey
we're
folks,
live
welcome
now.
back to the Nerdcast with my new co-host / guest star,
Little
Sherman.
little guest appearance.
Yeah.
T-Man, True Man. You might know me from the famous show Love It or Hate It, where it's the most professional show, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely. Fridays at 1:30 we're live, so if you miss it, you miss it. Yeah.
I was there with you last Friday.
It's pretty good.
That
It's
got
fun.
off the cusp.
I mean, if you missed it, you missed it.
Yeah.
Sucks to suck, buddy.
Please don't sue us.
Yeah,
So-
audience.
Yeah, so you're a huge sci-fi nerd, huh?
I wouldn't say huge, but I like my picks, you know?
Yeah.
I like Dune, I like
Yeah.
Alien.
Yeah. Dune. That's
yeah.
what we're talking about
Yeah,
today.
Dune is our discussion.
It's the greatest sci-fi saga of all time.
It's up there. I would say it's up there.
If it weren't for Dune, we wouldn't have Star Wars.
We wouldn't have Star
Warhammer,
Wars.
Star Trek, any of them.
Honestly, I have a problem because I'll read Dune and then I'll start to write my own, and after a while it's like, damn it, I'm just rewriting Dune. You know what I mean? After a while. It's like, well, I could just go and read Dune again.
I mean, Frank Herbert is one of the greatest writers of all time.
It was great. So audience, spoiler alert for definitely the first Dune book, a little bit into
movie.
Dune Messiah / movie, yeah. So welcome to listen in, but FYI, there will be spoilers.
Oh yeah. So let's talk about the themes of Dune. What would you say?
Yeah,
the
so
themes of
yeah,
Dune?
we'll talk about the first. We'll talk about the first book mainly.
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
both pretty familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
I would say there's a lot. There's a lot of deep themes in Dune. I would say that some of the main ones are definitely like religion, how religion affects both government and the individual.
Right.
Like one of my favorite quotes from the book is like, when you are an individual in a religion, you're never truly an individual. You're only kind of an individual.
Oh yeah.
Or I can't remember the exact quote, something like that.
Someone who comes from a Roman Catholic background.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Dune. Thing was Dune.
It's so good. The thing with Dune is that it's so good.
Oh yeah.
It's
the
so
David Lynch
good.
movie was hilariously bad.
It wasn't. Well, it was pretty bad. But I
It's
mean,
so
it wasn't-
bad it's good. It's so
bad it's good. But also, it's like there's aspects of it I do really like about it, and like
Yeah.
I'll rewatch it. It
Yeah.
was good. It was good. It
The
was
art style was great.
I mean, it
The
was
art style
entertaining.
great. The art style was great.
Art style was great. It was entertaining.
The Navigator.
Yeah, the Navigator
Or
scene,
the
bleh,
or that
everything.
ending scene when they're like this
Yeah.
giant cathedral.
He is the Kwisatz Haderach.
Yes.
Yeah, I like how Aaliyah looks in that one too.
Yeah. My biggest issue with the Dune David Lynch was the Fremen looked way too white.
White, and it strayed a little too far from the book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it literally ends with rain.
like he
coming
becomes a god,
yeah, which is not
which is not the theme of the book at all. It's the
no,
opposite
he's not
of
a
that, in
guy.
fact.
Okay. Spoiler alert, in Dune,
The first book.
back
yeah.
to religion. Religion is a tool used and created by this religious order of
the
they're
Bene
like-
Gesserit.
which are a mix of nuns with Jedi,
Kind of
with
witches.
Yeah, they're like the Illuminati of the Empire, and they
Kind of.
yeah, and they kind of manipulate everything. And they've been creating this prophecy of this chosen one, the
Kwisatz Haderach.
/ Muad'Dib.
Yeah, the Muad'Dib is
They
like,
created, like, a
that's what they name him.
They
yeah.
created a Messiah prophecy across the galaxy.
Yeah. And so part of the whole deal in the books is, so Paul, of course, fits this prophecy perfectly.
Yeah.
But the issue is the Bene Gesserit constantly plant prophecies, planning thousands of years ahead of time on various planets. So later on, then they can fill in one of their own
Right.
as this prophecy.
But what's ironic is it turns completely against
Yeah.
him, and Paul becomes a true
Yeah.
leader, true ruler.
He goes AWOL, yeah. When also the whole question of the book, well, is Paul really a god if he's just fulfilling a pre-planned destination?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's a complete deconstruction of religion. It's a complete deconstruction of why do we believe this? What are the true intentions
do
behind-
beliefs even matter in the first place? You know,
Yeah.
and the book answers yes, they do a lot.
Yeah, because in the book, spoiler for Paul.
The whole podcast is a spoiler for the book. So
Paul literally
FYI.
crash lands on this planet.
yeah, after he's escaping the Harkonnens.
Yeah. Like the whole aesthetic of the Empire. It's like this theocratic
Aristocracy,
in space.
feudal system.
They have like the way they looks like they're like noblemen from like the French Revolution.
Yeah.
It just, the aesthetic looks amazing. It looks like space medievalism. It's great.
Yes.
And what's cool is that Paul, and what's really cool about Dune, I would say, is the power and the politics of the Empire.
Yes.
The feudalism, how like plots within plots, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and how everyone, even if they're like, and I love, I wish we won't go to the second book, but one thing I like about the second book, and of course the first book as well, is that like the people who want power, they're not all bad people. They're just people.
In power.
You know what I mean? They're just people trying to be people.
Yeah.
You know?
Harkonnens being the exception.
Yeah, I guess Harkonnens. But even the Harkonnens, you know, they were raised, it's not their fault that they're that way. It's because they were literally raised that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're working within the system, you know?
Or, yeah, I mean, is the Atreides bloodline really that much more nobler than the rest of the houses? Think about it.
I don't think so. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm of the opinion that it's not.
Was
you know,
Paul's dad, Leto the First, was he really a good guy?
Like, and obviously, like, if Paul is the Kwisatz Haderach, was Leto then like Leto, the senior Leto, not his son, was he one step before the Kwisatz Haderach? You know what I mean? Or what is his mom?
And then there's the selective breeding program. Remember that?
Yeah,
like,
the whole They
breed generations of leaders and heroes for the Empire. And, like, it's this millennia-long thing. And let's really... You know what I really like about Dune in the books?
Go ahead.
Is, like, how Paul represents... The whole point of what the Kwisatz Haderach, is that how you pronounce it?
Kwisatz
Haderach, yeah.
Whatever way.
The whole point of it is to create a person who is a perfect blend of the feminine and the masculine energies. Think about that.
Yeah.
That was the whole point, you know what I mean? Someone who could... A male with Bene Gesserit powers.
Yeah.
And, like, they're trying to represent... This is an old, like, Gnostic belief that the perfect being is the combination of both energies at best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's like the mysticism and like the religions they dive into. Like what I really like about Dune is how it's like all in the future, all these religions and cultures have blended, re-evolved, and merged. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the Fremen are literally like the Sunni wanderers. They're a mix of Buddhism
with like kind of Islam.
Islam. Yeah.
A lot of Middle East influences.
Yeah. And what's really cool about Dune, it destroys the Chosen One narrative. It's the exact opposite of Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what we were talking about before, how like the Chosen One prophecy was created, it was fabricated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was created by the Bene Gesserit for their own means.
Yeah, and like the Chosen One, like at first thinking, oh, it's a classic hero's journey. But no, Paul is not a hero. He kills millions of people. He's afraid of his own power.
He doesn't want to be the hero. Yeah.
Yeah, and once again, there's that line from Dune that Frank Herbert makes that I love all the time. How's it going? Beware of charismatic leaders. They should come with a warning label.
Yeah.
Is that not freaking deep?
That's it.
It's like a complete up. You know what Frank Herbert was doing? He was destroying the chosen mentality of Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. This is a real...
really, what would become Star Wars because it's before Star Wars.
But Lord of the Rings, Tolkien, Messiah, Chosen One literature. He's destroying and deconstructing the whole narrative. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, and I prefer Dune to Star Wars because Dune, it just seems much more real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the characters are much more human. Like, one of the things I love, spoiler alert for Dune Messiah. I'm only halfway through the book, so I can't go too far. But, like, Princess Irulan is, like, not a major character in the first one, but she's a big player in the second book. And Paul feels sorry for her because, like, she's like, he marries her because he has to for the legitimacy, but he wants her to live her own life because, like, she's just a pawn in this big game. He feels sorry for her, you know?
Chani.
Yeah, Chani.
Great character.
Yeah. Chani is Paul's eventual wife.
Here's what I like about what they wrote with the Chani Leto story and kind of later with their daughter.
It's great parallels between Leto and his concubine and then Paul and his concubine.
Yeah, the thing with Paul, and continues with his daughter, Next Generation, spoilers.
Yeah.
They never married, but yet they have this great committed relationship with all of the official seal, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of my philosophy on relationships too, you know? I mean, they're really deconstructing everything that we take for granted in like Western European culture. It's great, you know? So what did you like about the David Lynch movie?
So overall, like It's not a good movie. Mm-hmm. But there is a lot of aspects, and it's a good-looking movie. Like, they clearly put a lot of effort into it. And I will say, I know, like, there's a lot of mess by the production company, like, you know, being too into it.
Yeah.
Thousands of script rewrites, you know, and all that. Yeah. It looks good, though. He does a good job, we were discussing this earlier, of mixing kind of the feudal aristocracy feel with like a sci-fi sort of aspect.
And I love that aesthetic. As a Warhammer fan, I love that aesthetic.
Yeah, like I really love when they're like loading up all the ships. I need to rewatch it. It's been too long. They're like loading up all the ships, and like the ship looks like if you would imagine a Renaissance castle as a spaceship.
Right.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
You know,
navigator too.
And I like how the little touches, like the light orbs, like, and I love the modern one too. But like in the modern one, the light orbs are just, you know, round circle light bulb. But in the old one, they're this like round circle with like ornate wings and carvings on them. Like that's such a cool touch.
I like
the
freaking ink like seal.
Yeah, his ring.
Isn't that cool? In space, in like the far future, they're still doing that.
Yeah, they've reverted back to it.
Yeah. And here's a really cool thing about the Dune universe. Is the Imperium, okay? The concept of the Imperium, its structures, its culture.
Whole bureaucracy in between that, the Chom Company.
You're a nerd, I respect that.
Yeah.
The Bene Gesserit, the Spacing Guild, how it has this religious history.
And how they all kind of they both hate each other, but also know they all depend on each other to succeed.
It's like Game of Thrones in space.
I mean, yeah, basically. Game of Thrones, was pretty, you know, a lot of inspiration from the politics of Dune.
Yeah.
I need to reread Game of Thrones. I only read like half the first book.
Read Song of Ice and Fire. It's way better. The show was great for a while till the last season.
Yeah.
Don't watch the last season. If you do, just watch The Battle of Winterfell. That's what I tell everyone. But off of Song of Fire and Ice, Dune, what do you like about the reading context? The how it was conceptualized, how it was written? Let's do it out about it.
It's interesting. Frank Herbert has a very distinct writing style.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's very weird. You don't see that a lot. And so, like in most books, like Game of Thrones, each chapter shifts the perspective of whatever character's about. Yeah. Dune is not like that. Dune constantly shifts back and forth between characters, their thoughts, and their motivations. And so, like, I can kind of see, like, to the new reader, it's kind of confusing at first.
Yeah.
Once you get used to it, then you can read it clearly, but it takes a second to kind of get used to it.
Right.
But the trade-off is, though, then you can get a lot of information out in a significantly shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's much easier to kind of go over, like he introduced like 4 characters in the first chapter alone, and you understand all of them right away. You know, Leto, Paul, his mom, the Bene Gesserit, what a mentat is, and how they function in this society.
You know what's really cool? The psychic abilities in the show.
Yeah, well, and I love how, and I don't blame like the modern movie or the old movie for this, because it's hard to represent it on a visual level. When you're reading it, you can really dive into it, but like the magic in Dune isn't magic in the classical sense.
Right.
It's magic in the sense of you take the spice and you connect with the universe on a deeper level.
It's like empath.
Kind
of.
Kind
of like being an empath /
I would say like a deep form of meditation.
Or getting really, really high. That's literally
I guess blacking out,
Think about it. That's literally what it's literally called the spice. That's literally what the spice is.
Spice melange,
Think about it. In this world, drugs evolved the human race.
Well, not to even mention Samuda. That's in the drug from the later books.
Yeah, but spice literally a drug gives you Jedi powers.
Yeah,
and it evolves the human race.
And that's part of the whole book is that like really does it give you powers if everyone now has powers? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know, like, I can't remember, I have to reread it, but, like, I know not everyone gets the same powers out of spice.
Right, yeah. It's only with Bene Gesserit and the Fremen.
Well, and they get different powers, too. The Bene Gesserit, you know, get, like, their witchy kind of oracle powers, whereas, like, the steersmen get, like, spacing mathematical powers.
The thing I like about like the way magic works in Dune, it's not about casting or impacting the physical universe.
Yeah.
It's mysticism. It's a deeper understanding of yourself and how the universe works.
And then what does mysticism mean in a huge universe that's already mystic? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's having a deeper third eye. It's literally what it is. Third eye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So what you think about the new movie?
The modern one?
Yes.
I liked it. I would say this: it is a good movie, and if you're new to Dune, it's great. The one issue I have with it is, and it's a problem I can't really tell you how to explain. So, like when you're reading the book, he has kind of a glossary at the back of like modern words, new Dune words, and new concepts, and it's really nice when you're reading. You just flip to the back quick. Oh, that's what that word means. You can keep reading, and over time, your vocabulary expands. Problem is, you can't do that in a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So every once in a while it comes off as just kind of sci-fi gobbledygook.
Yeah.
And you don't really get the deeper meanings or like the religious aspects because like I don't blame them. You can't.
I did love the scene where they land on the Atreides homeworld, the Empires.
Yeah, they're first coming out with their army and shit.
The emissaries from the Empire's court, and they land on like Paul's world. No.
Arrakis?
No, the other one, the greener one.
Oh, Caladan.
When they land the Caladan homeworld, and they have the Atreides armies out the front.
Yeah.
The Imperial court comes out.
Oh, yeah,
The costume
when they're
design.
delivering the message.
Yes, was that not?
Oh, it's great. It's a great movie. Like,
yeah,
if you put it this way, if you like Dune, you'll love the movie.
Oh yeah,
definitely. Even if like you're not into Dune, it's a good like. I would recommend. We were talking to Andy just before.
It's a good sci-fi.
If you're not into it, I would recommend watch the movie first, part one, then read the book, then then you can kind of continue on your Dune.
What did you think of the battle?
The battle scenes, I liked them. If I had one issue with it, I think the book portrays the battles a lot more realistically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's much more like, no, it's a battle. People are dying. People are running away scared or taking cover. Whereas the movie portrays it a bit more as like sword fighting and cool sword fighting.
Well, you can't have lasers or projectile weapons in this universe.
Yeah, they're limited,
because...
Yeah, the shields,
Yeah, because in this universe, they've returned to melee combat.
Or like it just becomes, it's a different style of warfare than what we would be used to nowadays. There's no
Duncan,
guns.
Idaho, you know the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah,
where he's like taking on.
He takes out like 5 Sardaukars.
Was that awesome?
That was badass.
And the actor plays up for his name.
Shoot.
Ronan Dex.
Game of Thrones. Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa. I call him Jason Momoa though. I like him. Yeah.
Beast. I've been watching since Stargate Atlantis. He is not.
It'll be weird to see him though later on because Duncan Idaho, becomes kind of a weird like philosopher type. But Jason Momoa does not put off that vibe in this movie.
Yeah.
He puts off the vibe as kind of like a fun-loving bad boy.
I've been watching him since I was age 9, so he's a great character. So the other things I want to talk about was we're closing down on this last 2 topics. Have you seen the miniseries? This is a quick note.
I've seen a bit of it. I'm gonna watch more of it once I finish Messiah because I don't want to accidentally spoil it.
The acting's okay.
It's good. They made the most of what they had.
Yeah,
definitely.
Budget.
Low budget, and also this is like 2002 or 3. Yeah. CGI was not where it is today.
It was bad.
You know what I mean? It just, especially on a TV. This is pre-Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like that had not been done before.
But for a show before Game of Thrones, this was.
It was good.
Yeah.
Well, and it's very book accurate. They keep to the book quite a bit.
Yeah. Watch the Children of Dune's continuation of that when you get to it.
Yeah.
There's this the scene where Leto and Paul are talking, and it's just so deep, and it's so good for like.
I love the philosophy part of it. Like Messiah, like Dune 1 is a fair amount of philosophy, but Messiah really delves deep into the whole like philosophy of rulers and empire, nature of the universe. Like one of my favorite scenes is Paul and Height, the clone of Duncan Idaho.
Yeah.
Paul just had some vision that like freaked him out, and Duncan's just kind of calming him down, and they're discussing his vision, and it's really good. Like it's just all about like at one point Height says like you've consumed too much time, you think you're immortal. You know what I mean? Just it's great. The whole chapter is filled with great lines. Great cuts.
Something I really liked about the Dune, we're speaking the philosophy. What is human anymore in Dune?
Yeah.
Because there's no aliens.
How do you define human? When this
there's
is
like non-human, there's post-human species.
There's Golas, clones, and like supercomputers, steersmen. Yeah.
Are the Bene Gesserit even technically human if you think about it? Are the Fremen human?
And that was in the Dune 1 when they're testing for. He puts his hand in the box.
Yeah.
One of the things the Bene Gesserit said is it's to test if you're a human or an animal, because an animal would flinch and pull their hand out, whereas if you're human, you know to keep going.
sense of self, sense of will, sense of like actual thinking. Yeah. How do you feel about there not being any aliens in Dune besides? Like...
It's refreshing. Honestly, I don't mind it. It's kind of refreshing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's you don't need aliens
for a good sci-fi saga.
Yeah, for a wonderful sci-fi saga. Yes.
I mean, Gundam's proof of that. But something that Gundam and like
I haven't seen Gundam
Mobile Suit
yet.
Gundam, something that Dune, all of it does well. Same thing with Foundation.
Trilogy.
It's the evolution of humanity.
Yeah.
The space mysticism, the Force, and where we're becoming. That's the story. The focus of the evolution of humanity. That's what.
Well, and almost the focus of evolution of humanity on a large scale. Too.
Tens of thousands of years.
Yeah, 10,000 years. Like even the first book and the second book take place 12 years apart, and a lot has happened in just those 12 years.
Like it's not just like physical evolution, the social, the psychological evolution of humanity.
You know, it'd be cool.
Do you lose your humanity? What does humanity become? You know.
It'd be cool if you know how they made like the Clone Wars and that takes place like in the If they made like a Clone Wars but for the Jihad. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yes.
That'd be cool.
They do that a little bit in the TV series.
Yeah.
Dune, yeah. In closing, what would you recommend Dune to new viewers and readers, and what advice would you give?
Yes, I would say maybe watch the movie first. Do a little pre-reading. It is a meaty book, especially the first one. Like, it's a meaty book when you're just getting into it. Take it slow, and like take breaks. Like read a couple chapters, maybe learn kind of what they mean. Take a break for a while, really think over those chapters. Like multiple times in Dune Messiah, I've just had to put the book down and been like, whoa, and just kind of think about the concepts that they're introducing. Because they're introducing a lot of very future concepts that even here's what I'm impressed about Dune, final thoughts. So before I read Dune, I was thinking, oh, it's inspired a lot of sci-fi. It's going to be kind of like Lord of the Rings, where great at the time, now it seems kind of derivative because it invented that.
Yeah.
Not at all. No? Dune is still weird as balls, and it's its own unique thing. Like, there's no other Dune other than Dune.
It's the perfect stoner sci-fi book.
It's a perfect sci-fi book, period. But yeah, yes, definitely.
Okay, last things I want to say. How do you feel about how do you feel about there being how they're cutting up the first book in a trilogy?
Of course, I would prefer it not, but also I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the first movie alone is already 3 hours, and they cut a substantial amount from the book.
Right.
Which I understand, it's a movie, they have to.
Right.
So I kind of understand it. Like, for example, like, they're splitting up, there's like multiple characters that are major in part 1, part 2, major in part 2, they don't introduce in part 1. But I also get it, because like for Fade Rutha, not even in the first part of the movie. I understand it though, because he's not a major character in the first part of the book. Right. He's there, but he's not important until the second part. So I understand, like, they had to make those calls.
Right.
You know what I mean?
To the sequel?
Oh, fuck yeah. Frick yeah, sorry. I swear. I have no clue.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't turn into a Harry
Hopefully
Potter
soon, but also I would be okay if they take a while, because I want them to get it right.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't mind if they take a while, but still get it right.
Well, you've been on the Nerdcast.
Yeah,
Welcome, join us sometime and get deep in the spice.
Yeah,
get deep in that spice.
Great.
Keep deep in that spice.
Yeah. See you guys.
Till next time, folks. Stay sane.
Sayonara.